I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing a very close friend of mine, another exceptional product of an exceptional university, no bias. But he is, I'm going to keep using the word, an exceptional being. The work he does, the lives he impacts. We are truly honored to have him speak with you guys today, to hear from this individual at such a young age, too, I might add. And the things that he's accomplished should be nothing but inspiration to each one of you here today. So I am going to read from a script, something I don't like to do, but it'll keep me on task and it'll make sure I can give him his just due. Okay, so bear with me. The Reverend Starsky D. Wilson. He is president and CEO of the Deaconess Foundation, a faith-based grant-making organization devoted to the advancing a culture of health and hope for children growing up in the grip of poverty here in St. Louis. Since 2008, he has served as pastor of St. John's United Church of Christ, a congregation of beloved disciplines building beloved community in North St. Louis. Reverend Wilson serves on boards, of course. Okay, he's a very talented individual, and as you hear this, I'm amazed at how he can do it all. But he serves on boards for the United Church of Christ Cornerstone Fund, the YMCA of Metropolitan St. Louis, Focus St. Louis, and the Mayor's Commission on Children, Youth and Families, where he co-chairs the Regional Youth Violence Prevention Task Force. He is a member of the Governing Council for Washington University's Institute for Clinical and Translational Services and advisory boards for the St. Louis Regional Health Commission and Metropolitan Congregations United. He previously served boards on the Interfaith Partnership, Neighborhood Houses, University City Children's Center, and the St. Louis Clergy Coalition. Starsky also served terms as president of the Urban League Young Professionals of Metropolitan St. Louis, Eden NAACP, and the student body of Eden Theological Seminary. That's a lot. That's a lot for such a young, powerful brother. And although you may not know it, hearing all of that stuff, Starsky is actually a native of Dallas, Texas. I share the story all the time. This is one brother that migrated to St. Louis that you would sworn was born and raised in this community. The work that he does. That's what we expect of each and every one of you. No matter where you land, be an impactful leader. He is a proud member of the greatest fraternity in the States, in the world. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He is also a member of the Eta Boule of Sigma Phi, Pi Phi fraternity. But probably what's most dear and most accomplished to him, he is the proud husband of Dr. LaToya Smith Wilson and father of 3 beautiful young boys. With that, I'd like to introduce the Reverend Starsky Wilson.
I do thank God for the opportunity to share with each of you on today. I thank Dr. Player, Dr. Butler, Dr. Simmons for extending the invitation and giving me this great honor and privilege. If you would, I'm not one to kind of stand in one place, so I'm going to, if this is on, do I need to turn this on? All right, thank you very much. I would just like to talk a little bit with these young people, but I got to tell you something about Dr. Player. Because he mentioned a couple of things biographically about me, and he is one of an inspiration for many things for me. So among other things that you've gotten in this program, you've gotten access to some exceptional individuals to build relationship with, and I encourage you to do like me, grab their heel, hold on to them for as long as you can. Dr. Butler and Dr. Player I've come to know. Dr. Player particularly for these who have just gotten their first acceptance letters into college. I will tell you that I met Dr. Player. I saw him first across the college campus. I was a freshman. He was in his third year, his first year of pharmacy school, because there was a 6-year program at Xavier University of Louisiana. And I saw him across the yard. I know that you all use academic terminology. It would be the quadrangle, but the yard is where everybody hung out at Xavier University. And I saw Dr. Player, then Steve, across the yard, standing in a place that I could not stand on a diamond that was crimson and cream with the other members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And I couldn't go there yet. That was like taboo. You didn't step up on that part, you know. And I just kind of watched him. I watched him and saw what he did. He's a brother who handled his business, he took care of himself, took care of his priorities, and I came to know a little bit about his backstory. I came to know about the woman who would become his wife, and I came to know about where he was from, and there was something about St. Louis in him. I used to say on campus that St. Louis was about the coolest place you ever could come from. And I said it, I compared people on the yard, because the guys from New York, they were all like, yo, son, they seem to be excited all the time. They were always excited and moving fast. And the cats on the yard from Chicago, and we were on college campus, and I didn't understand, we're on college campus, but they were giving each other game grips on the yard. And I was like, ain't we in college? I didn't get that. And then I was from the South, I'm from Texas, and the people from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, they tend to all hang out, walk slow, and talk slow. But the people from St. Louis are right there in the middle. Like they were, okay, these are people who have it together. They're not too worried about things. They keep their pace. So I'll just say this about Dr. Player's bio. I imitated it. So this is how I came to be St. Louis. He did 3 things that were significant. Number 1, he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, joined Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Number 2, he married a woman who was a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I did the same thing. Check. Number 3, I knew he was from St. Louis, so I had to go ahead and move. I had the occasion to come to St. Louis and to bring that woman from Delta Sigma Theta with me. And she actually works not far from here at Children's Hospital. All of that I say to tell you in the beginning as I transition into a little bit of a story, that these are amazing relationships that you have entered into, both the people who sit on the rows with you and the people who have taught you in your classes, the people that you have seen across the yard if you've been in residence here. So as you build those relationships, hang on to them, because they will be what help you to last throughout the rest of your life, no matter what the credentials become. Now I want to invite you to imagine a little something with me as I tell a bit of a story. Imagine that you know of a community of marginalized people because of their ethnicity. A community of people who have a barrier to getting access to the best health care. A community of people, if I can paint a picture for you, who find themselves in such dire health circumstances that whole schools of their children die off. Imagine a community where these folks, when they go to a hospital, the people literally refuse to serve them. So they sit medicine in the hallway and make them serve themselves. And the great reason why these people lack access to care and thus see these horrible health outcomes in their community is because they lack the resource to advocate for themselves in the system. They lack people of their like, of their kind, of their community, providing services in the system. Can you imagine that? Now imagine this. Imagine this community of people gathering at the local Starbucks, the local community center, the basement of a church, and deciding that they refuse to put up with this any longer. They're going to do something about it. So what they decide to do is to take the issue upon themselves. They're going to reach into the resources of their own culture. They're going to reach into the resources and the recesses of their own knowledge, and they are going to prepare people of their own community to serve in the health system. They are going to equip them, they're going to educate them, they're going to train them, they're going to prepare them, and then they're going to consecrate them. They're going to lay hands on them and set them apart to do this work of caring, healing, and teaching so that they get better health outcomes. Can you imagine that? Imagine that this mission lives for years. Generation upon generation gets touched by these people who decided enough was enough. And we will raise up our own and build institutions to care for ourselves. Can you imagine that? You forgot to tell me I was a preacher. I'm used to people talking back to me. I know, I speak in diverse settings. In some settings, it's rude to talk when somebody else is talking. That's not rude to me. Just let me know you with me. Can you imagine that? Yeah. All right, thank you very much.
Deep, brother. All right.
She used to be where I'm, used to be. If you can imagine that, then I'll tell you a bit of history, not just dreaming. In March of 1889, a group of German immigrants who could not speak English found themselves in the situation I described to you. Because they had come to St. Louis through many of them indentured servants who came across the river, landed in New Orleans where we went to school, came up the Mississippi Valley, and came up the Mississippi River, looked out upon the topography of St. Louis in both directions, and saw Marthasville in one direction, and saw mounds in another direction, and it reminded them of the German Rhinelands. So they stopped. This looks like home. But when they began to populate neighborhoods like what is now North St. Louis, and establish churches at places like the corner of 14th and Carr Street, like St. Peter's Evangelical Church. But they established missions in locations like Caroline Mission that still stands on Caroline Street in South St. Louis today. They found themselves still marginalized and at the edge of society because they could not advocate for themselves in the system. They didn't speak English. And because of their German language, they were not treated well in City Hospital. And so they gathered at the community gathering spot, which at that point was the church, specifically in St. Peter's Evangelical Church on what is still the north side. And they decided, we don't have to put up with this. We can care for our own. We have the resources of healing in our own culture. And they remembered an order of deaconesses that had been consecrated to the work of nursing and theological training to serve their community in Germany. And they decided we can do the same thing here. And so almost 125 years ago, they consecrated those first sisters. Sister Catherine Hawk was the first one. Her daughter was the second. They dedicated their lives to a healing ministry, to serve in the healthcare system as representatives of God, to remove health disparities and get to what I like to talk about more, which is full health reconciliation. To say that their community would have just as solid outcomes as anybody else. And they weren't going to put that on anybody else. They would do it themselves by committing to rigorous training and care for their people. Just to advance forward 125 years in 20 seconds. The first home where they lived and cared for people was at Eugenia Street, which is near Union Station right now. They established several homes over the years and then established a school for deaconesses, a college of nursing, a hospital, a health system that became a multi-site health system. In 1997, they sold the health system to establish a foundation to serve the community and its children, particularly those who had poor health outcomes because of the twin dual demons in our community of race and poverty. We continue to serve that mission today. Why do I tell that story? I tell that story because it is the story of the mission that I serve, but I tell it even more in settings like this, as I told it last week to a group of nursing scholarship students, because it could very well be your story. In the same North Side communities, if you ever wonder why you had on the North Side streets like Rauschenbusch, or we say Rockenbach, it is actually Rauschenbusch, right? Named after some of these same streets. On the same North Side, where many of us, many of our grandparents, many of our parents grew up, they're the same kind of health disparities today. In these same communities, whether they be immigrant communities in St. Louis on the South Side or whether they be African American communities on the North Side today, there's the same challenge of access to health care. There's the same barrier of cultural understanding, even though we speak the same language. But there are people who decided that we can do better than this. We will consecrate and prepare our own in order to serve in our community and to reduce health disparities. You are the deaconess sisters of today.
All right.
And brothers. Your community is racked with the same challenges, yet your community has decided to invest in you as its hope. That mission has served for over 125 years because of that gathered sisterhood, consecrated and committed to one another and to community. And what I challenge you to do today is to make the same kind of commitment. To care for one another in the same. I love how y'all were, I love how you were cheering each other on. I love that. The program is great. The things that you have been equipped with are amazing. Do not lose sight of the relationships of those who are around you. They will walk with you. They will build with you sorority, fraternity, sisterhood, and brotherhood that will cause you to be able to serve even when difficult times come. I'll leave it this way. I used to have to remind my wife, who is a dentist. I was working when she was in dental school. She finished dental school. I went back to seminary. Just kind of the family arrangement. It all worked out. But one of the things that I would hear when she went into dental school from time to time, they would have study sessions at my house. She was the only African American accepted into her class, or made it to the second year. There were 2 of them in the first year. They would study at our house down in the living room. And because of the cultural realities of the school where they went, they would find themselves not just studying, but also spending a little bit of time assessing what has happened on the campus. Who's getting what in the class because of who likes who. These are the realities of our culture. And so every now and then, I would interject when they were talking. I said, this is the deal. While y'all are talking about what happened today, your classmates are studying. Now, they needed that time to get it out of their systems, but they also needed to be reminded of the work at hand while y'all are spending time exegeting what's happening on the yard. Other folk are studying. You need, in the days ahead, you will need the people around you to remind you of that. And you will also need the people around you to listen when you need to exegete what's happening on the yard and in the lab. The other thing you will need them for is this. You have chosen a profession that has great nobility tied to it. You've also chosen one that requires great rigor in the days ahead. So the other thing that you will require is what I had to give my wife after her friend left is the pep talk to say, you decided you wanted to be a dentist once. Today you have to decide. Pep talk again. There will be times when it will get hard over the course of your studies, and you will need someone who has been through and who understands. It'd be great if you've known them since high school, to give you a call, to give you a holler, and give you a text, to say you decided you wanted to be a pharmacist back then. You need to decide again today. That will happen through relationship, and it will happen through care. And that will remind you of the community that birthed you, the community to whom you owe so much, the community that has such health challenges and disparities, that you are the answer to heal. And as you are reminded of that, in that story from 1889 and the story that has begun with you today, I pray that you become the healing hands of care and teaching and nurture that our community needs. It is all in your hands, and you have the capacity to heal. For what you have done and for what you will do, I give you thanks and I give you praise, and I thank God for you. God bless you.
Let's give the powerful Reverend Strusky a round of applause, please.
Attention!
I don't think they heard you! Attention!
What is best?
That's the partnership between Montrose Hospital Expressness and the St. Louis College Pharmacy.
See?
What is the mission of BEST? The mission of BEST is to prepare multicultural students for a future career in healthcare with the emphasis in pharmacy. And how is this mission executed? The mission is executed with the model that combines academics, exposure, and professional development. Give me a B! B, you got your B, you got your B. Give me an E! E, you got your E, you got your E. Give me an X! X, you got your X, you got your X. Give me a T! T, you got your T, you got your T. B, E, S, T, break it all down. B, E, S, T, break it all down now.
I know I said they would end the show, but that was tight. That was tight. That was tight. Actually, I think that's probably the best three performance we've had in this season. The challenge is on my twos to make it to the three and then top that. I do want to say, I don't know if they left the food out there, but anything else that's left out is yours to take. We'll be around for a while if anyone wants to commune together. And man, I would be remiss if I didn't say this is a group who could not be considered trouble team. And I'll let your students tell you what that means. All right, thank you guys.